It got it. Okay, got it.
You got it. She got it, and she got a lot of it. And I'll tell you why. Because she's a matchmaker. This lady has put together people, help people get together. Well, you're going to learn about what that all means. That's a very, very good thing. I think when people find each other or get some help to find each other, and they live their life together, they marry, whatever they do. I think I'm a reverend also, interfaith, all faiths. I marry people. I'm so happy when people get
Huh?
together, happy. So I imagine you are also. Lisa Ronis, do I say that right?
Ronis. Ronis.
Hello, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, Paul. Finally.
I know. Well, we figured all this out to have an opportunity to share the
Yes.
good that Lisa's doing with her matchmaking business. And she's actually been an executive and I think of Liz Claiborne and other companies. And she's a speaker and she's been on a lot of television. And I probably should have her do the whole interview. She could ask her questions and she could answer them. Why am I getting involved? I'm just going to listen. Lisa, tell me about your
You
background.
go take a walk. Tell me about what?
Your
About
your background, your background and what you're doing now.
so I grew up in a very artistic home. I'm part Egyptian, part Syrian. So it was a very colorful upbringing with lots of siblings and parties and belly dancers and food all the time. So, creative, and my mother was an artist. So I grew up in that kind of really fun, fabulous environment. And I went to school to be a designer. I was a textile designer and I got in the fashion business and I worked at major companies. My last was Liz Claiborne and I traveled the world making, all kinds of accessories, schmatzes. And, anywhere, India, South America. I mean, just it was such a fabulous career. And in '99, I said, all this is meaningless. I mean, I'd see people on the bus wearing like my scarf, something that I painted and, manufactured and made people happy. And I remember dating a guy and he was an oncologist and I said, what I do is meaningless. He goes, no, but you make people happy with your stuff. Anyway, I decided it was like time. And I was always setting people up and they'd wind up getting married. So I said I had enough of, sex, drugs, and rock and roll in the, not that I was into it, in the fashion business. And I want to do something that's going to make a difference. So I started a matchmaking business in 1999. And at that time, there were very few matchmakers and no one wanted to take on women. There was like Wall Street guys who were, throwing matchmakers like big tickets and they were flying all over the place and they wanted hot chicks and that was the deal. So I decided that I would take on women as clients and I was getting referred. Like I had an instant business and I would give, a percentage to whoever referred it to me. And 25 years later, I do work with men and women, but I really specialize in helping women. And a lot of them are, well, I would say a lot of them are first time marriages, women in their 30s, mid to late 30s. The clock is ticking. They froze their eggs twice and they pick their head up and they're a partner in a law firm. They're a surgeon, but they have no social life. So I deal with that. And then lately I've been getting a lot of 50-something-year-olds who, are divorced and the kids are grown up or growing up. So it's different categories of women. And so my deal is what I do is I'm constantly networking for single men. And so I interview all day long. I interview guys, interview potential clients. And a lot of people have gotten married, but coaching is a big part of what I do. I think people date and they sometimes send the wrong message or even in the choosing process, they're not thinking clearly. If they want marriage and family, why are they choosing a playboy? Like it's like I wear so many hats that the mother, the therapist, the dating coach, concierge, and they listen to me. They pay me money, a lot of money, and they put their trust and their faith in me. And it's challenging and it's emotional, but when something clicks, it's just so fabulous. Yesterday on Facebook, I saw a client of mine. It's her 40th birthday. She married the first guy I set her up with 6 years ago. She just had her third baby.
Oh,
And it's just, I look at those marriages that I made and the kids, or if they're older people who just, they went from being sad and feeling lonely to just having this wonderful life with someone. And I have to say, I've been to heaven. They say three marriages and you go to heaven. So I've been back and forth a few times.
great.
So that's what I do.
Yay. I like what you do. I think that's in Yiddish, since you threw out a Yiddish word there earlier, it's a mitzvah. A
It's a
mitzvah, well, you said shmatas, but
Right.
mitzvah
It's a
is,
mitzvah. Yeah.
I know from the shmata business. In any case, the mitzvah, the goodness, the good, and we're good news, and we're all about positive life and companionship and friendship and living a healthy way is all good. So where do you see though, and do you see this growing more so, or do you, because I don't know, we've gone through this COVID period of time, and I don't think anybody is practically, or hardly anybody, or maybe nobody you want to hang out with has like been in bars and running around in the last 3 years, unless you use another Yiddish word, they're meshugana. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
this is a scary time. So how are you dealing with that in the work?
Well, right after COVID, like that April or May, my business was gangbusters. I was written up in the New York Times in an article called Dating During COVID or Dating Through COVID, whatever it was. And so it was in, I think, the style section, or it was in the New York Times. And then there was an article, Tinder. I wrote an article for Tinder. They reached out to me, they do like experts. And that people were FaceTiming me. I would never not meet someone to interview them, but this COVID has really changed it. I mean, I'm sitting here in Palm Beach and I have interviews the rest of the week with potential clients. I would never not meet them in person. So in a good way, it's changed, the landscape of the business, but I was very busy during COVID. And people hired me and went on multiple dates, and we just met this way because they were lonely online. I don't know what was going on there, because I'm not a big online person or knowledgeable, but they wanted someone they could trust, someone that they knew I would screen that was vaccinated. They were doing, Saturday night, they would do like a Zoom call or a FaceTime call with a glass of wine. And then eventually, maybe if they like the guy or the girl, they go for a walk. So it's very busy. And then when people started to bust loose, like last summer, it was dead for a lot of matchmakers because everyone was traveling. Now I feel like it's coming back to normal. It's not, people aren't hiding out. They're not, just thinking they're going to run off. Now it's been very, very busy. And no matter what's going on, they're looking for love. During 9/11, which I was just in business just a very short time, was very busy because people were lonely and they put finding a person became more real, more significant. Online dating is everyone's screwing, just running around being badly behaved. And I think that during 9/11 and when there's a crisis, people realize like their mortality, and going it alone, which is no fun unless you really choose that. And, not everyone wants to get married. There are people that say, if I can have a dinner partner 3 nights a week or 2 nights a week, someone to go to the opera with, someone to go to the theater with, someone to go on a vacation with. I think as we get older, and I'm experiencing it as well, is, some alone time is okay as long as you have the quality of this person. It's different than a 37-year-old who's looking for marriage and to get pregnant yesterday. So it's just each group I take on, it's different, but really no one likes to be alone. The very important thing, and tell me if I'm talking too much, but it's one must be whole to really have a good relationship. If they feel I don't take on everyone. And if it's a crazy, desperate person who thinks that this is going to make them happy, like you have to really be whole in yourself. You have to, with yourself, you have to be content. Yes, it does complete. It is so much nicer to go watch a sunset, cook a meal, do stuff with someone. But I just feel that when you're in a very good place with yourself, that's when you would have a more positive relationship, you know.
Let
So
me ask you a question. So here's an example, and maybe this is for men and women and any other title that somebody gives somebody in today's day and age. Let's put it that way.
right,
Uh,
right,
so, I mean, in my mind, there, even though the way I try to act is the same in my personal as well as in my business life. Okay. Some people think business life is, you know, different than personal life. I'm not one that does that. Okay. But the ones that do think it's different, you know, they are either they're working very hard to get ahead, they're potentially not satisfied where they are. I
right.
mean, I know lots of men, I'll say probably women too, don't, who maybe I know maybe more men that feel, well, you know what, I'm not doing so well, or I want to do better. I don't know if I can take on a relationship and make it work because I'm so possessed with my work. I'm working day and night and blah, blah, blah. So what do you think about somebody in that scenario?
They're usually honest with me and they let me know. But I would say, yeah, so that's, it depends on what the other side wants. If the woman is, I've had worked with two very busy people who travel a lot. You know, the guy would say, I don't want a girl who cuts out of work at 5 o'clock and thinks like we're going to meet at 6 for cocktails and 7 for dinner. So I would have to take the lifestyle and the priorities into consideration. And I have come across two busy people, you know, people who have that same, you know, the priorities. So I think lifestyle is very important. And vice versa. You know, some guys go, I don't want a girl who's trying to make partner in a law firm and she's working, or she's stressed out and she's working, you know, weekends and she's working like till 9 o'clock at night. So there are times where guys will say like, I don't want that kind of woman, you know. So it's, I listen to everything. Like if you were to come to me and say, I want you to set me up, or I'd like to meet one of your clients. And, you know, I don't drink, I don't go to opera, I don't go to ballet, but I like Nick games, like to have a hot dog and a beer. And, you know, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. The girl that likes to go to a nice restaurant, to dine out, to go to the opera, you know, I think it's like sophistication level. I was thinking about this. It was really funny because I knew I was going to be on the show. If I saw a guy holding a fish, water skiing on his boat, on his jet ski, I would run the other way because, you know, I'm not a huge water person. Like I like to do lots of, or jumping out of, you know, a plane. So I think that lifestyle, but you know, it comes down to values, family life. I think so many people say that family is very important. I interviewed this wackadoodle guy who, very strange. I don't think he'll listen to your show. First of all, he's not talking
I
to
got a lot of wackadoodles listening, but go ahead.
He's young.
Especially me, because they know I'm a wackadoodle. All right.
So he doesn't talk to his family. He's done a lot of therapy. I
That's
couldn't red banners. And just so most of the women I know don't want to be associated. The red flags would be, they're not judgmental, but family is very important. So someone that doesn't talk to their parents, their sisters, you know, I screen a lot. And I did set him up and he was very weird. It was weird. You know, I have to go with my gut. My gut tells me so much. Then I talked to a guy today, a young guy, you know, 40, it's young compared to us. So,
I'm only 39, but go on.
he was young at heart. And such a delightful guy, delightful, good values, just a handsome, normal guy. And like, So it's just interesting. So I was saying I don't take on everyone. Recently, a woman came to me. She had unrealistic expectations. Crazy. She's going, I want this and I want that and I want that. And she was but I gave her the courtesy of 2 meetings and told her I'd keep her in my database. But that woman had no boundaries. She would text me at midnight, can you talk? I thought of one more thing I forgot to tell you. She's not even my client. So I'm pretty picky because being a matchmaker, you have a pretty close relationship with your clients. You just hear about stuff, their feelings, their thoughts, their rejection, when they reject someone, like what's going on at work, their life. I spend a year with really very many close relationships. Sometimes at the end of the night, I just need like a glass of rosé and just some peace because it's a lot.
Oh,
but I love it.
An emotional scenario. You're dealing with human instincts, human relationships, and
But
this
I
is
love
deep seated. This is not the
It's
surface
very
of those
deep.
people.
No,
This is serious.
Right.
This is their life and their
You-
potential of happiness or unhappiness.
Yeah.
Let me just at this moment, and we'll talk again at another time. We could
Yeah.
talk for hours. I know that because
I know.
I like what you have. And I like what you're doing. I like the way you approach everything. To me, so far, everything is high quality, respectful, and responsible. And they meet my Boy Scout code of trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. So with all those things, I see how people feel comfortable with you. Let me have 2 quick questions and then we'll talk again. The first one is, were you inspired by Fiddler on the Roof with the matchmaker? Do you think subliminally that's
Maybe.
something?
Maybe. I mean, I many times and when I was young, but what?
So maybe it did have an effect.
But I always like to help people. And no matter what it is, I'm one of those people that maybe sticks her nose in things for a good reason. Someone drops something, I go, miss, you dropped this. If someone is looking for a seat, they don't see it, I go, oh, or I'll move over. Like I'm one of these helpful people. So
good. That's healthy. Last question for this time, for this conversation. We're involved with peace, the International Day of Peace, worldwide peace, trying to pause the entire world at 12 noon on September 21st. Plus, that peace and love is our thing. Heart behind me, I own the happy face, whatever, different things. So I asked
my dog.
What happened?
My dog has many of those happy faces.
Your dog has a lot of happy faces.
Yeah, they're scattered all over my floor. Yeah.
What a nice dog. And so, what is peace for you?
Peace, personal peace, or worldwide peace?
Anything, any peacey thing you want.
Peace is when people get along, people don't judge one another, they are kind, they help each other. It's Zen, it's good karma, it's love. That's what peace, it's not families fighting and friends fighting, and it's acceptance. Just harmony and peace, love, just good stuff.
Good stuff. Lori, thanks so much for sharing the good news with us.
All right, we'll talk again.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.